She would brush her hand through her hair on camera, and so much hair would fall out. But like the icon she is, she gets her mom to come on screen and help shave her head, and she's like smiling and joking around the whole time. And then when she comes out, she unveils her new hair to her kids, and her 2 daughters are smiling at her, and they both tell her that she's really beautiful. And she just told everybody, we have to be happy and learn to forgive wholeheartedly and to let go and keep blessing everyone, even if it's hard for us, even if they've hurt us. They're doing a live tour all around the world, through Mexico, through the United States, 8 years in, when Luna gets up on the stage and she starts off by thanking the crowd for following their journey for so many years. Panini, the other half, silent. Something happened between me and Panini, and the only thing that I will tell you is that I forgive everything that's happened. I ask you to please respect her. And with that, we are canceling our show after 8 years. The best friend will steal her bestie's husband, steal her children, and announce her pregnancy to her best friend's husband, and then her best friend will die from cancer. Everyone, they've got no idea what's going on, but they know that they're on Luna's side. And this will be later called the real life case of Marry My Husband. People actually think Marry My Husband, maybe the webtoon author read about this case and then got inspired by it, because it is so on the dot. It's kind of crazy. There's a show in Mexico called The Laundresses. 2 women are hosting it. They just air out their dirty laundry on television. Every single episode, it starts with them trying to wash laundry, and then somewhere along the lines, they just forget to wash laundry, okay? They get distracted by the banter. They're talking about pop culture. They're talking about news. They start doing all these random things that they can think of just so they don't have to do laundry. I mean, obviously, the point of the show is not laundry. It's supposed to be entertainment. But it is arguably one of the best shows on television at the time in Mexico. For like 8 years straight, mainly because of the casting. And their names were Carla and Carla. They have the same exact name. But we're going to refer to them as their last names, because there's no way I'm doing Carla 1 and Carla 2. Their last names are Luna and Panini. So Luna is brunette. Panini, opposite. She's blonde. But it actually works because they're actually best friends. And for that reason, The Laundresses would be one of the biggest hits for Mexican TV for 8 years in a row. You know how they say that there's always a little bit of truth behind every joke? Yeah, by a certain point, you could tell that Panini on the show is not laughing with Luna, her best friend. She's laughing at Luna. One episode of The Laundresses, Panini starts making jokes about Luna and her husband. And it's not like poking fun. She looks angry. Like, she looks disgusted at Luna. Like, she doesn't deserve a happy relationship. She would joke about Luna's body, talking about her cellulite and her stretch marks. And she would make comments about how her body looks just wrecked after having 4 kids, basically bullying her to get a laugh out of the audience. And then there's this other weird clip that starts circulating, and Panini's on the show, starting the banter off. She's complaining about the laundry work, and Luna responds, "It's probably because you're is a and Panini, straight up, without even skipping a motherforking beat, and just says deadpan, "I'll ask your husband to fuck me then." So the show is like 10% scripted, apparently. And then Panini keeps going on. She says, "I hurt you where it hurts the most. Now I'm your milk sister." It's not even a joke anymore. It's just bizarre. Then there's another episode that netizens are analyzing where you can tell that, again, this stuff was not scripted. So Luna is center stage and she's complaining to Panini about her husband, Amer. And Panini just responds like very aggressively, "Shut up and just go tell him then." And again, this is for a TV show. So Luna tries to kind of find a way to get back into the banter mode. And she's like, "Oh, you know, God is going to judge Panini for saying stuff like that." But Panini stoops so low and says, "Okay, well then judge me then, because God is going to take you away."
What?
Which is already a mean thing to say, but get this, it's even meaner because netizens look at the time of this episode, and this is actually when Luna was diagnosed with cancer for the first time. So Luna responds with, "Well, now you're gonna be left without a job." And Panini jokes, "Oh, don't die, don't die. We're barely making any money." There is this one last clip that netizens found. So they go on this other show, and they're prompted to do a skit. And Luna is a woman, Panini is the fortune teller, and here's how the skit plays out. Luna is supposed to sit down next to Panini, and Panini is waving her hands around this imaginary crystal ball, and Luna is scratching her legs near her hoo-ha. Luna tells her, "Please help me. I think my husband gave me an STD." Panini looks into the crystal ball, and she smirks at Luna. "I see. Your husband has warts in his And he's cheating on you with a blonde woman. Panini is blonde and Luna is brunette.
And she is cheating right now?
We don't know that yet. But yeah. The mastermind behind the entire show was actually Panini's boyfriend, Oscar. He creates the concept of the Laundresses, the show with the two girls, and he writes in the two characters. He's like, they need to be this type of vibe, this type of energy. This is the concept of the show. And now he just needs to cast two women for it. And one of the first spots, of course, is going to be his girlfriend, Panini. And he just needs a second host to balance Panini's personality at this point. And when looking for the second host, I think that it was a lot more about making sure that the second host's energy would match Panini's energy. And he meets Luna. So they actually met for the purpose of creating the show, the two Carlas. And over the span of the 8 years, almost instantly, they were best friends. Oscar was also a part of it. He was like the third wheel. I will say that some people just generally did not like their relationship. They have a 19-year age gap. They're both legal adults when they met, so it's fine. But also another thing was that people did not like Panini because they thought that Panini was using Oscar to get ahead in her career. So a few years into their relationship, the internet sleuths start coming out to investigate. And there are some odd clips. I would say they got the Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber treatment. But in this case, Panini is Justin Bieber. So there's this episode on El Club where I guess the producers want to celebrate Panini's birthday. So after Panini gives her little speech, she has a solo moment where she's dancing. And Oscar, being the strong protective daddy that he is, he stands in front of her crotch. A bunch of men from the audience would line up and get a chance to dance with Panini. So these people, they just come up one by one onto the stage and they start dancing with her. And you just see Oscar, it cuts to his face and he looks genuinely sad. Not only that, later on, she pops up back in the episode, just like spawns, and she's fully like rubbing up on a different man. And just overall, not just this episode, but all the episodes, Panini just never really pays attention to her husband. She's kind of over it with Oscar. Meanwhile, Luna starts dating. She starts dating a man named Americo Garza. We're going to call him Amer. And he's a businessman. Luna's a single mom of two. A lot of people really liked Amer because he's not a public figure. They end up having 2 kids together and they get married in 2010. And basically the takeaway here is everybody's happy. Life is perfect. But this would not be called the real life Marry My Husband unless she goes down. After Luna gives birth to her 4th child, the one with Amer, she starts going to the hospital frequently. And out of the blue, news breaks. She has been diagnosed with cervical cancer. So even though Luna is physically healthy because the cancer treatments work and she's free of cancer, she just seems really sad. But she gets cancer again. So this is the first round. She goes through chemotherapy and she becomes cancer-free. And people thought that she would be over the moon because it's almost like a second chance, but she just seems really depressed. And Luna just starts noticing a lot of just strange things. She feels like something's off. So she goes to her biggest supporter, Panini, and she tells her everything. I mean, everything. Like any intrusive thought that she had. So one day they're sitting there prepping for the next set when Luna just blurts out, "I think Amer is cheating on me." Panini just tries to calm her down. So she turns to her and is trying to be firm. She's like, "No, my husband is physically and mentally abusing me." He would call her all sorts of degrading things. More often than not, he would call her that, then use her name. He would call her ugly, fat. He would make fun of her appearance and
call
say...
her that, you say?
Fat. And say that she looks sloppy after her cancer treatments. And he would resort to violence. He would hit Luna and leave her with black eyes. She would come to work with swollen eyes and she would even try to cover up the bruises. Luna bears her entire soul to Panini and Panini is like, "Well, there's not much you can do because you have cancer again." Yeah, so at this point, Luna was re-diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my god.
So Panini's just telling her, you just like have to get through this. I mean, with the kids, with the cancer, like maybe you can try to talk to Amer. I'll try talking to Amer, but you just have to stay positive. Like right now is not the time for you to go through a divorce and experience all those troublesome feelings when you just need to focus on getting healthier. So even with her deadbeat husband, she's just so grateful for her 4 kids. And she's honestly really grateful for Panini because her 4 kids are great. They're supporting her, but it's a different kind of support when you get it from an adult. Both women start dealing with husband problems. Panini and Oscar, they start growing more distant as their careers grow apart and they eventually end up getting a divorce. And then Mexico would have one of the worst days ever. You know what? That's a little bit dramatic, but it really was crazy. The show announced that the show is over. and Luna is on TV doing interviews exposing her whole story. So they went through the live tour show. She announces that it's canceled. People go through the rounds of like the internet sleuthing. And now Luna goes on to a TV interview and gives an exclusive of everything that has happened. She is going through her 4th round of chemotherapy for her 2nd cancer treatments. She explains the real reason that she canceled her show is because her best friend Panini / business partner Panini slept with her husband. She said, I forgave everything. I've already talked to them, but what is the most painful for me is that 4 or 5 years ago, I was still with him. He was my partner. My youngest daughter is only 2.5 years old now. 5 years ago, we had a wife and husband relationship, and my work partner colleague has always been like my sister, the person that I trusted most. So she was the one who wiped off my tears, the one that I would tell when I felt everything that I was going through, and she was the one that gave me advice. So now I feel like I've been cheated on, lied to, because as my marriage got worse, someone was always getting something from it. She was benefiting when my marriage got worse. So 4 years back, Panini was forking her husband for 4 years behind her back. The affair lasted 4 years. Luna knew this because a while back, Panini actually confessed her. Well, half confessed to Luna, almost like 0.1% of the truth. Panini confesses and Luna forgives her. And then they keep cheating. Luna gets diagnosed with cancer the 2nd time, and what Panini told Luna would be burned into her brain forever. This was like in 2010. All 3 of them were at a party. Luna, I guess, wasn't feeling well, so she was kind of off to the side. She fell asleep in another room. And while she's sleeping, Panini confesses that she kissed Luna's husband. But according to Panini, Amer, the husband, did not kiss her back. And she was like crying. She couldn't believe how strong her feelings were for a married man. She's telling Luna this. Yeah, so she's like, it was just one kiss and nothing happened. And it's, you know, I pushed down my feelings for him until they weren't there anymore. So I don't have feelings for him anymore. I never meant to hurt you. I'm sorry. Luna is devastated, but Luna believed her and she forgave her. But ever since then, Luna always just kind of second guessed a lot of things. So for example, she thought back to her wedding where Panini showed up wearing something that was way too provocative for a wedding. So one day, Luna just straight up asked her, did anything else happen between the 2 of you? And Panini gaslight. She's like, what are you talking about? One night, Luna's in bed with Amer. It's late, but the muscle pain, the nausea, she can't go to sleep. On the nightstand, she sees Amer's phone light up. It's a text from Panini. She looks over to see what the fork her best friend is doing, texting her husband late at night. And it says, I love you. See you tomorrow. So she confronts him. Obviously, he brushes it off. And this would happen multiple times. So Amer would call Panini and ask for her to clarify what the fork is going on. And it's like they already had it planned. Panini would have the excuse prepped and ready. And she'd be like, oh my God, oopsie. I sent it by mistake. It was for somebody else. And Luna keeps confronting them over and over because what they're saying just doesn't feel like the truth. But Panini and Amer would deny it so strongly. They would honestly at one point make Luna feel like she was going crazy. They convinced her that she's like this paranoid, crazy person. Panini and Amer would actually convince her to get therapy, so she did.
Oh my God, dude.
Until one day, Luna's sister Erica had lost her phone. So Luna, being a good sister, was like, hey, Amer, do you have your old phone? I'm just going to give it to my sister so she can use it. So she gives her the phone and they turn it on, and what do you know? None of the data had been wiped from that phone. Like, it was never factory reset. So all the text message, everything is in there. So it's not even a one night stand, first of all, but it's like a long 4-year affair with I love yous and shit. I miss you. They text like their husband and wife. That's the crazy part. They start talking about Luna as if she's a cheater, like she's a gross person and stalker. It's really bizarre, but it gets even worse. Panini would ask Amer to treat. Panini would basically be like, if you love me, you would hit her.
No.
Basically. Okay, those were not the exact words, but in the text messages, those were.
How fucked up is this?
Yeah. So Panini would text Amer asking him to mistreat and abuse Luna for her. At Panini's request, he would stop giving Luna attention, stop being nice to Luna, treat Luna as badly as possible, stop paying for Luna's cancer treatments, and physically and emotionally abuse Luna. Like, it was really bad. The abuse was really bad. A lot of people noticed it. So in one instance, after performing one night, Amer started beating Luna in the parking lot. Everyone saw it, even the staff. He didn't just hit her. He was like beating her with her own high heel.
And nobody did anything.
No, he hit her so hard that she had bruises all over her chest. Like the doctors noticed during chemo, like bruising and wounds. The doctors threatened to report it if she doesn't report it, so she had to file a police report. But afterwards, Panini convinced her to drop the charges because Panini was like, it's not going to look good for our careers and you need to pay for cancer treatments and our careers. It's going to be a whole scandal. It's going to affect both of us. Another time, Luna was getting minor cosmetic surgery on her nose. So she was getting a nose job. It was healing, but it's sensitive, right? And Amir practically broke her nose. He started just hitting her face and like it was crazy. She had to get a second operation to fix it. One time, a bunch of the staff members were around and they were trying to think like, what do we do? How do we step in? Because this abuse is getting so bad. They're literally watching the abuse. And Panini stops them and says, don't get intervened. Leave them. It's not our problem. It's just so sick, okay? And every single time, Luna would run to Panini and she would comfort her and be like, it's okay. It'll get better. And then she would just turn around and be like, hit her for me, basically, allegedly. So after seeing all of this, Luna has proof and she just wants them to admit it. Like, and she recorded the conversation. Luna's so calm. Her voice is like, just admit it so we can move on.
And she recorded that conversation.
Yeah, and at one point her husband is like, I don't know why I did it. I'm just in love with both of you. Yeah, and they also owe her money. Her husband was borrowing money from her and he likely used it on Panini.
No, pues a mí no me lo des, dáselo a ella porque yo le digo a ella. Me ha mentido y quiero que me lo digan en la cara de una vez. Bueno, ¿por qué? Porque sabes bien de lo que te estoy hablando. Que me lo digas, te estoy dando la oportunidad. Eres mentirosa, eres traicionera y eres falsa. Aquí tengo los mensajes con flechas. Tú destruiste mi matrimonio, Javier. Le robaste mis hijas a su padre. Le quitaste su corazón a los niños.
Panini is like, after all of that, I'm not a bad person. She tells Luna, I'm not a bad person.
So Luna's confronting both of them right now.
And Luna is like, okay, that's crazy that you don't think that you're a bad person. At one point, Panini starts crying, asking Luna for forgiveness, like practically begging her. And Panini's like, please forgive me. I only did this because he's the love of my life. She doesn't go on TV to bash Panini's name, but she's very honest and she's just telling people, not even in a victim-y way. She's not even like crying, like, can you guys believe this happened to me? She's just saying, this has been what I've been going through. And if there's anyone else that's going through a lot or even just a part of what I'm going through, whether it's the cancer or the cheating, I hope that you stay strong. And she's like, honestly, I forgive them. I mean, I forgive them. And I'm not blaming them for my cancer. I mean, it's cancer. It's something that hurt me so much. But I've cried so much over this, I don't cry anymore because I've already digested it. For me, it was a great loss because I loved Panini like my sister. So at this point, most people fucking hate Panini, right? But there was a small group of people that are like, we don't know her side of the story. Like, we need her side of the story. A few months later, Panini comes out, does her own interview. This made sure everybody hated her. She just admits to everything. She's not even hiding the cheating. She does the interview and it just makes people hate her even more. So Luna removes all ties from Panini and Amer. She moves on from her career from the laundress and she focuses on spending more time with her family because she's still going through round 2 of cancer treatments. Meanwhile, Panini and Amer, they can't live in Mexico anymore because people hate them that much. They moved to the United States, got married after the scandal broke out. And then in September 2017, Luna passed away from her fight with cancer. She spent her last days with her family, and even though this isn't like a K-drama and Luna would not get a second chance at life, she really, really appreciated her first chance at life. Even in her last days, people said that I'm sure her body was so exhausted. She would get up and dance with her kids for no reason. A few days after her passing, her parents and her sisters file a lawsuit because Luna's 2 daughters with Amer were basically kidnapped to the United States. Technically, Amer does have custodial rights, right? So they're not kidnapped. But the family just did not like the idea of Amer and Panini raising the 2 girls. Like, that's crazy. So Luna's other 2 children, they're adults. So they're in Mexico and they're with Luna's family. And now their younger sisters, they don't get to see them because they were whisked away to America. And now Panini is raising them. And last people heard, they're calling Panini mom because they were too young to like really know, it seems.
Bruh. That's crazy.
3 years after her social media hiatus, Panini would come back and she posted a wild comeback photo on Instagram. She posted a picture of Luna's daughter wearing one of the laundress outfits, like, you know, from their show, how they would wear the baggy clothes and the bandana and the wig.
Uh-huh.
But she put her in hers and not Luna's. Yeah, people were going crazy. It felt like a subtle fuck you to Luna, which is even more horrendous because it's just people were commenting. There are some shameless people out there. She looks pretty because she looks just like her real mom, Luna. Panini ends up embracing the hate in 2022. So 5 years after Luna died, she would post on Instagram of her and Mary wearing couples t-shirts that say, "We hate you, Panini." Like basically being like, haters are gonna hate, hee hee. In 2022, they also live stream and bring up Luna's alleged affair once more and being like, this is why, because she had an affair first. She's also now has a podcast where she talks about her life and her perspective about everything and her fame and being on the laundress. She mentions Luna by name and just acts like it was like a nice chapter of her life. And she portrays herself as the best friend who just happened to fall in love like it was twisted fate. Netizens will never let her forget it, that she is the most hated woman in Mexico.